Hi, I'm Liza, your rock and roll realtor, and today I'll be giving you an update on the November 2020 election. But before I do, I'd like to ask you to subscribe and like and comment if you have any questions or any real estate needs. Now, we all know the results from the presidential election, but what about the other items on the ballot that you voted for? I thought you might like a quick rundown on the results from the 12 measures that were on the California state ballot. So let's start with State Measure 14, funding for stem cell research. This measure passed. The state is now authorized to fund stem cell research through a $5.5 billion state fund, which would be a loan that California would have to pay back with interest over 30 years using taxpayer-supported general fund. Now on to State Measure 15, raising taxes on commercial property valued over $3 million. This measure failed. Commercial properties will not be taxed on their current market value. They will continue to be taxed the same way as the residential properties. Their tax is based on their purchase price with an increase of 2% each year. Next up is State Measure 16, diversity, bringing back affirmative action in public hiring, contracts, and college admissions. This measure failed. Public institutions cannot consider race, sex, ethnicity, or national origin when it comes to hiring, offering a job, or college admissions. State Measure 17, restoring voting rights to former prisoners while on parole. This measure passed. People will be given back their right to vote after they have served their time in prison but are still on parole. State Measure 18, allowing some 17-year-olds to vote in primary and special elections. This measure failed. 17-year-olds will not be allowed to vote in the primary and special elections if they will turn 18 by the next general election, and they have to be already 18 in order to vote. State Measure 19, transferring tax base for seniors and increasing tax on inherited homes. This measure passed. Homeowners who are over the age of 55, disabled, or wildfire or disaster victims can transfer their primary residence tax base to a new replacement residence. Also, people who have inherited homes that do not use them as their primary residence will be taxed on the current market value of their home and will not be able to carry over the low tax rate that the previous homeowners were paying. State Measure 20, parole restrictions. This measure failed. Penalties will not be increased on people who have committed a misdemeanor, theft, or drug crimes, and they will not be increasing the list of crimes that are required to collect DNA samples. The recently passed criminal justice reform will be kept in place. State Measure 21, letting cities implement stricter rent control. This measure failed. The current restrictions that prevent local governments from imposing rent control on housing built after 1995 or earlier, like in Los Angeles, where most apartments are constructed after 1978, will remain. State Measure 22, independent contractors. This measure passed. Uber, Lyft, and other rideshare delivery companies can continue to classify their drivers as independent contractors as opposed to employees. State Measure 23, kidney dialysis clinics. This measure surprisingly failed. A doctor, nurse, or physician's assistant will not be required to remain on site of a dialysis clinic while a treatment is taking place. Dialysis clinics will also not be required to offer the same care to patients regardless of their source of payment or insurance. They will not be required to report infections, and they will not be required to get permission from the state health department before closing down. State Measure 24, Consumer Privacy Laws. This measure passed. Businesses will be prevented from sharing their consumers' personal information. Consumers will be able to correct inaccurate personal information, and businesses' use of sensitive personal information such as their location, race, health information, etc. will be limited. Companies will be prompted to send out emails and pop-up messages to let their consumers opt out of having their information sold. And lastly, we have State Measure 25, eliminating cash bail. This measure failed. Suspects will continue to pay cash bail, have bond companies pay on their behalf, or wait in jail while they wait for their trial. I hope you have found this information useful, and now that you have the results from the measures pertaining to real estate, and you know who will be residing in the White House for the next 4 years, you might feel more confident about buying, selling, or investing in property. So if you are thinking of selling your home, please contact me for a free home evaluation. I'd be happy to set up either a Zoom or a FaceTime viewing, or even a safe in-person viewing. Or if you are looking to buy either a primary residence or an investment property, I'd love to help you find the perfect home or property for you. Again, don't forget to subscribe and like and comment if you have any questions. Also, please reach out to me directly. I have included my information below. I look forward to helping you with all your real estate needs. Goodbye for now.